Namanda, 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 namanda. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the June Shotsuki Hoyo service. This service is being recorded and will be available for view later on YouTube. Only the speaker view that you will see on your screen is the version that is being recorded. As we begin the service, we ask everyone to please mute their mics. Thank you. Now we will have the reading of the Shotsuki Hoyo names read by Keith Kojimoto. And as you hear the name of your loved one being called, please offer incense at your home altar or place your hands in Kansho. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. Thank you for attending this monthly Shotsuki Memorial Service when we remember and appreciate our loved ones and friends, church members who went to the Pure Land in the month of June. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Each month during the Shotsuki service, I hear the names of many people, as everyone does, the names of many people I don't know. I'm reminded of a countless number of people who I could have never have known, who have come and gone for countless eons, humans as well as all living things to whom I owe my existence, this life at this moment. Thank you, everyone, for participating in the June Shotsuki Memorial Service.
Thank you, Keith. Next, we'll have the reading of the three treasures, which will appear on your screen. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not realize the truth in this life, when will it be realized? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we absorb ourselves in the principle of way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we be submerged in the depths of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we live in harmony in the great assembly as disciples of Buddha and be freed from all hindrances, becoming units of true accord in the life of harmony, in the spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, 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 Namanda Butsu. And now we will have a Sutra chanting by Reverend Keisuke Lee-Miyaki. We will begin with the Sambujo, followed by the Junirai, which will also appear on your screen.
Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda. Namanda. We respectfully call upon Amida Tathagata to enter our place of practice, joyfully offering flowers of welcome. にの上三We respectfully call upon Shakyamuni Tathagata to enter our place of practice, joyfully offering flowers of welcome. ni no We respectfully call upon Tathagata of the 10 directions to enter our place of practice, joyfully offering flowers of welcome. Junirai. Keishu tenni shokugyo Amida senryo zokuson Zai mi me annakok Muryo bushi shuine 金色心情両線のシャマタ行尿造部両目上脈少年下高が将来みなそん弁前年上尿満月以降有尿千日が小尿天空くしな高が将来みだそん観音町内観地宇治中寿瞑想法将軍のぶくげのまけまんこが将来みだそんむびむくこしょじょ習得経験女国 調査利益特自在、古賀将来弥陀尊、実法明門菩薩衆、無料小魔女三段、一生修上願力寺、古賀将来弥陀尊、根体保険知証権、前言少女明大座、おひじゃ上女洗の、古賀将来弥陀尊、実法将来勝負師、権限人図師安楽、戦後尊厳上苦行、古賀将来弥陀尊、小無常無我と、薬入水月伝養老、一種説法無名字、古賀将来弥陀尊、非尊仏説無悪名、薬無如に悪道不、中に死心教非尊、古賀将来弥陀尊、非尊無量勉強、無償修悪知識、往生不退死亡大、古賀将来弥陀尊、我説非尊苦毒寺、修善無変、如海水、小逆前言、少女者、衛生修上、小非公。ナマンナム。ナマンナム。ナマンナム。ナマンナム。ナマンナム。ナマンナム。堪にしくどく、平等性祭、どんぼないし、おじょう、あんらこ。ナモアミダ仏。ナモアミダ仏。ナモアミダ仏。ナマンダ仏。ナマンダ仏。ナマンダ仏。ナマンダ仏。ナマン。Thank you.
Thank you, Sensei. Next, we will have a Dharma talk offered by Leo Jocelyn Sensei.
Good morning. Please join me in Gassho as I read from the Tanishio. Even when we are evil, if we revere the power of the vow all the more deeply, gentle-heartedness and forbearance will surely arise in us through its spontaneous working. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning. I'm grateful to be here this morning. This is our Shotsuki Hoyo service for June 13th, 2021. And this is a live Zoom service. And so it's really wonderful to see everyone's faces and to know that we're all together here in a live virtual space. And hopefully the day will come very soon when we'll be able to meet in person, whether it be in the hondo or maybe in the kitchen cooking food or in the social hall enjoying food. That day, I hope, is coming very soon. And I know that our safety committee is working very hard to determine the safest way to reopen the temple. So I'm looking forward to that day. And I'm actually, myself, I'm getting to be a little more comfortable with being out in public and going to public places. As a senior citizen with a medical condition, I had to be very cautious and I had to adhere strictly to shelter-in-place rules. But now that things are relaxing a little bit, I decided to go back to the gym. That was one of the things that I had to give up with the shelter in place. And so anyway, I went back to the gym and I felt comfortable there because there was lots of space. There was lots of room for people to practice social distancing. Everyone wore a mask and there was lots of disinfectant so we could spray down the equipment before and after working out. And so I went and I had the time of my life. It was the first time I was back to the gym in months and months and months. So I worked out, I did the bench press, I did the pull downs and had a great workout. But the next morning when I woke up, it was like there was pain surging through my whole body. It was like my muscles were all screaming, saying, how come you didn't work out a little easier? And it was terrible. All day long, I was in pain. And that night, my sleep was disrupted. And it wasn't until a couple of days later that I finally felt okay. So I thought, okay, well, I'll take it a little more easy. So after a few more days, I went back to the gym and I did a much easier workout. But the next morning, again, pain coming out, just surging through my body. And I was realizing and recognizing that, yeah, things have changed. Things were no longer the same. And so this was a Dharma lesson for me. The physical pain was a message that my body was no longer responding to exercise like it used to, even a year ago. And also, you know, I can feel myself losing energy and getting older. And so it's become more painful to walk. And so these, for me, were reminders of a teaching by Shakyamuni Buddha. And that teaching is the teaching of the 5 remembrances, which is a teaching on impermanence. And he encouraged us to think on these frequently. And so the 5 remembrances are found in the Pali Canon in a collection known as the Anguttara Nikaya. The translation that I like the best is that by Thich Nhat Hanh. Okay, so the first remembrance is, I am of the nature to grow old. There is no escaping growing old. The second remembrance is, I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way of escaping ill health. And so these, I just described how I experienced these directly. And so these became very real in my life during shelter plus care. And, you know, my body no longer responds to exercise like it used to. I no longer have the stamina that I'm accustomed to. And I can now sense these 2 natures very deeply. So the third remembrance is, I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. So Shakyamuni here is talking about the physical plane and the realm of samsara. COVID has been a reminder of this, that death can come at any time. So with modern medicine, maybe we can put it off for a while, but ultimately there's no way to escape death. And Shakyamuni encouraged us to reflect on this. The fourth remembrance is that all that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature to change. There is no way to escape change. So this one has been a tough one for me because, of course, I want my loved ones to be here forever, but that's not reality. This remembrance brings home the reality of impermanence and that everything is subject to change. And Shakyamuni encourages us to reflect on this frequently. So what about the fifth remembrance? The first four remembrances seem to point toward this. And so the fifth remembrance is, my actions are my only true belongings. I cannot escape the consequences of my actions. My actions are the ground upon which I stand. So when I heard this, I was thinking, what? Is that all Shakyamuni has to say about it? Because there's so much dukkha. It seems that there's so much dukkha in the first four remembrances. And so I thought, maybe, why didn't Shakyamuni spend more time talking about relieving the suffering? But then when we contemplate this deeply, we realize that this is actually quite profound. Because he's talking about, what this fifth remembrance points toward is the ultimate action. So if we put a Shin Buddhist perspective onto this teaching, we see that the fifth remembrance points toward the Nembutsu. And this is not even an action that we initiate on our own. It's a gift from Amida. And so living the Nembutsu, that's the action. That's the fifth remembrance. So that's how I interpret it as a Shin Buddhist. So when I hear the expression living the Nembutsu, it reminds me of the 16th World Buddhist Women's Convention, because the theme of that convention was live the Nembutsu. And in fact, the convention took place just a few months before we went into shelter plus care. So I like to think that the energy that pervaded that convention, I like to think that that energy helped carry me through the pandemic. And I think it carried a lot of us through the pandemic. And one of the things that I really enjoyed were the speeches and the presentations. And there was one that I especially appreciate that was by Keiko Toro Sensei in her keynote speech. And in that keynote speech, she talked about the parable of the white path and Amida's calling us. And she interpreted Amida's call as follows. And these are the words of Amida. Whenever you notice that you are drowning in greed and are burning in anger and haunted by anxiety and fear, recite my name. Leave your worries for the time being, just recite the Nembutsu. While reciting the Nembutsu, look at your present situation by your inner eyes from a distance. Follow your heart in the Nembutsu. Dare to live your own life with singleness of heart. So I love this interpretation. I love how she interprets Amida's words. She says, look at your present situation by your inner eyes from a distance. So in other words, we step back from our egos. We step back from the demands of the ego self. Because so often we get caught up in our thoughts and feelings. We can step back and give them space, realize that we are foolish beings, incapable of achieving peace and nirvana on our own, that anything we do will be affected by karmic shackles and blind passions. Regardless of this reality, we can take refuge and we can follow our hearts in the Nembutsu. So what's this look like? I think that living the Nembutsu is living from the heart. And as stated in the Tanisho, which was our opening passage, even when we are evil, if we revere the power of the vow all the more deeply, gentle-heartedness and forbearance will surely arise in us through its spontaneous working. So gentle-heartedness and forbearance will surely arise in us. What's this look like? So there was another talk given that weekend by a woman named Carol Valentine. She was the representative from Hawaii at the district panel that was held at the end of the convention. And so she described 4 qualities that for her embodied living the Nembutsu. And so I really agree with her. And with apologies, I've shifted the order around a little bit. The first of these qualities is compassion, or the movement of the heart when witnessing suffering, or when in the presence of suffering. The second quality is kindness, being moved to relieve that suffering. And more than that, practicing kindness in everything we do. I believe that compassion and kindness rises out of our interconnections. And so the interconnections, oneness, that's the third quality. Living the Nembutsu includes remembering that we are part of the oneness that pervades the universe. So here today at Shotsuki Hoyo, we're remembering that oneness and our interconnections. We're remembering those who have crossed over to the other shore, and we're reminded that they're still here with us in many important ways. So even though they may not be here physically, their essence remains with us. When we live the Nembutsu, we remember our interconnections. And the fourth quality is gratitude. And there's so much to be grateful for this one unrepeatable life we've been given, for our Sangha, for our loved ones, for the light of Amida, the workings of the primal vow. And no one can express this gratitude better than Shinran. In chapter 6 of the Kyogyo Shinsho, he writes, "How joyous I am, my heart and mind being rooted in the Buddha ground of the universal vow, and my thoughts and feelings flowing within the Dharma ocean, which is beyond comprehension. I am deeply aware of the Tathagata's immense compassion, and I sincerely revere the benevolent care behind the Master's teaching activity. My joy grows ever fuller, my gratitude and indebtedness ever more compelling." So I think these four qualities are embodied in the Jodo Shinshu pledge and in the Golden Chain. When we follow them from the heart, we're living the Nembutsu. So these are the energies that can carry us through anything that we encounter here on the physical plane. They're carrying us through the pandemic. They can also sustain us when we deal with the challenges of the modern world, the hatred, anti-Asian violence, political discord, racial injustice, and so on. And they also sustain us when we face our own personal challenges, whatever they are. They may be failing physical health, or financial insecurities, or maybe being a caregiver for a loved one. Whatever challenge we might face, the Nembutsu provides a profound and powerful foundation from which to engage the world. So to sum this all up and to bring it to a close, I think that contemplating the 5 remembrances can be very helpful. Once again, they're as follows: I am of the nature to die. I am of the nature to have ill health. I am of the nature to die. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature to change. My actions are my only true belongings. I cannot escape the consequence of my actions are the ground on which I stand. So we remember that Shakyamuni here is speaking in terms of the physical plane and the realm of samsara. But let's remember that the first 4 remembrances, they sum up the reality of impermanence. And if we get stuck just on the first 4, then we're missing the big picture. The big picture is pointed toward by the 5th remembrance. The 5th remembrance embodies the big picture, and the big picture is the truth of the Nembutsu. And we remember and are reminded that all is Namo Amida Butsu. So please join me in Gassho. Even when we are evil, if we revere the power of the vow all the more deeply, gentle-heartedness and forbearance will surely arise in us through its spontaneous working. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you.
Thank you, Leo Sensei. Next, we will have the Gatha, Hear Amida's Voice by BJ Soriano.
When I hear the voice of Amida speaking to me from within, I say, Namo Amida Butsu. My heart can now listen reaching out to hold me near. I say Namu Amida Butsu. My arms can now embrace. Namandabu, my heart hears Amida's voice. Namandabu, my arms embrace his love. Namandabu, my heart opens to the truth. Namandabu, I'm happy to be free when I read the truths of Amida coming from his great teachings. I say Namu Amida Butsu. My mind is now open. I say Namu Amida Butsu. My mind is now open.
Thank you, VJ. For the closing meditation reading, I'd like to read Namu Amida Butsu by the late Reverend Kenryu T. Suji from the book, The Heart of the Buddha Dharma. I go back to this book time and time again for the way that Reverend Suji is able to distill succinctly the Jodo Shinshu teachings. So here is the article, Namu Amida Butsu, recitation of the Nembutsu. Nembutsu literally means I meditate on Buddha. Namu Amida Butsu means I take refuge in Amida Buddha, the Buddha of infinite life and light. The Nembutsu is the heart of the Buddhist religious experience. The recitation of the Nembutsu, Namu Amida Butsu, a meditation, enlightens us to our humanity and leads us to the full realization of the ultimate power of wisdom and compassion, which we Buddhists call Buddhahood. Psychologically, the recitation of the Nembutsu is a conscious acceptance of Amida's wisdom and compassion at work. Religiously, the recitation of the Nembutsu is an act of gratitude, naturally arising from and awaking to the wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha. A man who lives in the supreme knowledge and profound conviction that he is now encompassed in Amida's eternal light, which never casts him away, is known as a man who lives the life of Nembutsu. The Nembutsu is the complete identification of myself with the transcendent power and wisdom and compassion from which I derive my meaning for existence. The Nembutsu is the center of my being, the spiritual home from which I operate and where I find the spiritual power to carry out all my moral, social, and religious commitments. It is a verbalization of my inner awakening to the reality of life and the world. It is the sound of the infinite touching the finite. Only in the absolute passivity of the Nembutsu do I find the unfathomable source of my life's true activity. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, 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 Namanda Butsu. Thank you. I'd like to offer gratitude and thanks to Leo Jocelyn Sensei for our wonderful Dharma talk and reminding us of the remembrances. They're very good for us in our daily, activity. For Reverend Keisuke Lee-Miyaki for leading us in chanting this morning, for Keith Kojimoto for reading the Shotsuki Hoyo names, and also for your reflection. Thank you for that. And I'd also like to thank our Zoom coordinator who this would not even be possible, and that's Kevin Yoza. I believe, Leo Jocelyn, Sensei, you have announcements?
Let's see, I just have two announcements. The first is that our book club is meeting every other week, and we just met this past Tuesday. We meet on Tuesdays. We just met this past Tuesday, so we'll be meeting not this coming Tuesday, but the Tuesday after, from 2 to 4. And right now we're finishing up a book called Dharma Treasures, which is a collection of poems that are written by early immigrants who were living very difficult lives in Hawaii. And they were writing about how the Dharma was supporting them as they lived with their hardships. And I think we have one more meeting where we discuss the book, but you don't have to have read the book. You can just come and just listen. And you'll actually probably pick up a lot from the book just by listening in. So that's on Tuesdays. And then on Wednesday evenings, we have mindfulness meditation from 6:30. We usually go from 6:30 to 7:30. And we usually have a meditation session, maybe 20 to 30 minutes. Then afterwards, we check in and we talk about what's going on with us and how the Dharma is helping us in our day-to-day lives. And so everyone's welcome. Just contact the office by calling or email, and we'll send you the link for these Zoom meetings. Thanks.
Thank you, Sensei. And Kevin?
Hi, everyone. I'm Kevin Yoza. Nice to see all of you. As you know, since we won't be having a Obon in person this year, once again, we're going to put together a virtual Obon program. And if you were able to see last year's virtual Obon, it came out pretty well. It was quite nice. So we'd love to do that again. So for now, I'm going to mention two ways you can participate. One is to share your memories, whether in photos, videos, or audio, and express why Obon is important to you, and also or favorite memories of Obon. And then that'll be edited together into a compilation. And so that's one way. And another way is the Obon teachers are putting together some videos, some dance videos. And one thing they're going to put together is they want all of you, all of us, to record ourselves dancing to an Obon song. They'll announce it very soon. But once you record yourself dancing to it, they're going to edit it together, and then it'll be a video of all of us dancing together, and that should be really fun to see. So since we can't dance together, we can dance together in this video. So I know this is something kind of new for all of us, but yeah, try it out. It should come out really cool and look really fun. So and you can send these videos or photos or audio to bcsfobon@gmail.com. And there's more information in the newsletter, and you'll probably get an email about it too later on. Okay, that's it. Hope you can participate. It should be really fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Hey, good morning. So I just quickly announced that one event provided by Okaeri. Okaeri is Nikkei or Japanese and Asian Americans and LGBTQ gathering happening in June 25th, 2021. And then Pacific time is 7 p.m. to 8:30. So Friday, 7 p.m. to 8:30. It is Okaeri Connect invites you to Pride Happy Hour. So I will show you my phone screen. Sorry, it's a kind of a this is the Eventbrite has a link. So and we will upload the URL somewhere in the homepage or YouTube link, the description. So please, if you would like to, if you are interested in a connection with all over the world in a Japanese American and Asian American gathering for the LGBTQ connection, so please register on the Eventbrite. Thank you very much. It's a very wonderful organization. So, thank you.
Thank you, Sensei. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 namanda Butsu. This concludes this morning's June Shotsuki Hoyo service. Thank you for joining us. Please stay safe and healthy, and you're all invited to welcome to stay on afterwards and say hello to one another. Thank you.